Over 400 years ago, in a quiet English town, a baby cried his first cry beneath a wooden roof and a thatched ceiling. No one knew that this child, born to a glove maker and his wife, would someday speak to kings and commoners, scholars and school children, across every continent on Earth. His name was William Shakespeare. This is not just the story of a man who wrote plays. It's the story of a dreamer who changed the world with words. It's a story about imagination, courage, and the belief that even from the humblest beginnings, one voice can echo through eternity. Shakespeare was born in April 1564 in Stratford-upon-Avon, a small market town filled with cobblestone streets and the hum of ordinary life. His father, John, was a respected craftsman making gloves and trading wool. His mother, Mary Arden, came from a family of farmers. They weren't rich, but they valued learning, hard work, and faith. Young William studied Latin, poetry, and the great Roman thinkers. He devoured stories of heroes, gods, and tragedies. His imagination stretched far beyond his hometown. He began to dream of bigger worlds where words could move hearts and shape destinies. He didn't know it yet, but he was preparing himself for the stage of the world. By his late teens, Shakespeare was restless. He married Anne Hathaway at 18, became a father, and faced the weight of responsibility early. But something inside him called for more. The quiet fields of Stratford couldn't contain the stories bursting inside his mind. Then came the mystery. The lost years between 1585 and 1592. No records, no letters, just silence. Some say he was a teacher, others say a traveler or performer. But one thing is certain, when he reappeared, he had transformed. By 1592, he was in London, already known as an actor and a promising playwright. He had crossed from obscurity into the heart of the English Renaissance. London in the 1590s was alive with merchants, musicians, and open-air theaters where laughter, sword fights, and love stories played before thousands. Into this world walked Shakespeare, a young man from the countryside with ambition burning in his chest. He joined the Lord Chamberlain's Men, a company of actors that would soon become the most celebrated in England. At first, he was just another playwright among many. But soon, his words began to shine brighter. His plays weren't just entertainment, they were reflections of the human soul. Romeo and Juliet made people weep for love and loss. Hamlet made them question life and death. Julius Caesar made them think about power and betrayal. He wrote not for the elite, but for everyone, the nobleman and the butcher, the scholar and the servant. In his stories, everyone could find themselves. His success grew fast. He became not only a writer, but also a shareholder in his theater company. His words filled the stage, and his plays filled the city. He mastered every genre: comedies that made the world laugh, tragedies that made them cry, histories that made them think. Behind every triumph was endless effort. He wrote fast, sometimes a play in just a few weeks. He revised, rewrote, and refined his craft constantly. He wasn't waiting for inspiration. He created it through discipline. When critics mocked him for being uneducated, he didn't answer with words, he answered with brilliance. Every insult became fuel for creation. In 1599, Shakespeare and his partners built something extraordinary: the Globe Theatre. A round wooden arena open to the sky, filled with laughter, applause, and sometimes thunder. It was here that his greatest plays came alive. Thousands came to see his words turned into life, peasants and nobles standing side by side, united by story. The Globe was more than a theater. It was proof that dreams could take physical form. From the ink of his quill to the boards of the stage, Shakespeare built a world that would outlive him. Shakespeare didn't write like anyone else. He expanded the English language itself, adding over 1,700 new words like lonely, swagger, radiance, and majestic. He understood that words have power to wound, to heal, to inspire. His writing wasn't just art, it was a mirror. His characters, whether kings or fools, showed us who we are and reminded us that love, jealousy, ambition, and fear live in all of us. Even as his fame grew, challenges never stopped. Theaters were shut down by the plague. His livelihood vanished overnight, but he refused to give up. During those dark years, he turned to poetry, pouring his emotions into his sonnets, lines that still pulse with life today. He also faced personal loss when his only son, Hamnet, died at 11. The grief broke his heart, but he transformed that pain into art. Out of sorrow came masterpieces like Hamlet, where a son mourns his father and searches for meaning in a broken world. By his 40s, Shakespeare was wealthy and respected. He bought land, helped his family, and became a gentleman of status. But he never lost sight of his art. His later plays, like The Tempest and The Winter's Tale, were filled with forgiveness, wonder, and peace. It was as if he had learned life's final lesson, that love and compassion outlast ambition. In 1613, he retired to Stratford. 3 years later, he died on his 52nd birthday, April 23, 1616, but his words lived on. Two of his closest friends gathered his plays and published them in the first folio. Without that act of friendship, half his work might have disappeared forever. That single act preserved a legacy that still shapes culture today. From literature to film, from speeches to songs, his influence is everywhere. Every time we say love is blind, break the ice, or all's well that ends well, we echo Shakespeare. He wrote not just about his time, but about all time. His stories captured what it means to be human, our desires, our mistakes, our dreams, and our search for meaning. He showed that greatness isn't about perfection, it's about persistence, about daring to tell your truth even when no one's listening yet. Start small, but dream boldly. Create relentlessly, even when you doubt yourself. Collaborate, turn pain into poetry. Adapt when life changes. Build something that will outlive you. William Shakespeare wasn't born a legend. He became one through courage, craft, and an unshakable belief that words can change the world. His story reminds us that we all have a stage to step onto. Maybe yours isn't made of wood and candlelight. Maybe it's your career, your art, your family, or your dreams. But it's still a stage and it's waiting for you. So ask yourself, are you hiding in Stratford, or are you ready to step into your London? Ready to face the unknown? Ready to speak, to act, to live boldly? The world doesn't need another Shakespeare. It needs you, your perspective, your voice, your courage. If Shakespeare could rise from a small town boy to a global icon, imagine what you could do with that same fire inside you. Every word you write, every risk you take, every dream you chase, it all adds to your story. Because greatness isn't born, it's written, one act at a time. William Shakespeare, the bard who taught the world to dream.